Tabletop Spotlight, brought to you by Dragon's Lair Comics and Fantasy. Hey everyone, I'm AdamHarry from Bella Souls with
Evan from Dragon's Lair Comics and Fantasy.
We're back with another Tabletop Spotlight. Dude, Star Trek Ascendancy.
Yes.
Is it finally out in stores now?
Yes.
Awesome.
It has ascended to the retail stores around you. But yes, it's in stores. It's out. It's
it's ready to go.
It's big.
So we got a little taste of this one at Gen Con 2016. So I'm so glad this is finally in stores that we can actually show it off and talk about it.
Yeah.
And you guys can go check it out too. So let's hop in and take a look inside Star Trek Ascendancy. Here we go, man. Star Trek Ascendancy time.
Yes.
This is a massive game.
Do you have a favorite captain?
I do.
Which one?
Cisco.
Cisco. Why?
Cisco is the only captain that I saw ever punch Q right in the face.
Oh.
Q, the galactic entity that was kind of a big baby / godlike power and all that stuff.
Yeah.
He would always mess with the next gen crew, and Picard was always like, "No, I won't fall for your stuff." And
Right.
he did this whole thing with. He made Cisco in like a boxing match from like the 1900s with him. It was really funny, and Cisco punched him in the face, and Q was shocked, and he was like, Picard never hit me," and Cisco's like, "I'm not Picard," and then he punched him again.
Oh man.
So it was just, yeah.
I like how Patrick Stewart never ages. Like, have you?
Yeah, he's got, I don't know, you see the Old Man Logan trailer?
Oh, but that's makeup.
That was makeup.
It's funny how they have to have like
Makeup to
old
make it
makeup.
look-
Yeah.
Anyway, this is the back of the box.
Back of the box comes with three. Right?
3 races.
Three
You got
races.
the Federation, obviously.
Yes.
You got the Klingons and the Romulans.
Yes.
And all their special powers and stuff like that. So
It's a big game. Comes with a lot of pieces.
yes.
Yeah.
Lots of stuff in here. You can see. This is a unique game in the sense that time-wise, just want to call this out real quick. It's approximately 1 hour per player, which that's because they're going to add more expansions later on. They've already announced the Ferengi expansion and the Cardassian expansion.
Oh.
So
okay.
not the Kim Kardashians, the
Right.
actual Cardassians
Right.
from Star Trek. So if you add more players, it's going to add more time to the game, just because turn sequence and stuff like that.
Okay. You ready?
So yeah, I'm ready to rock, man.
Alright.
Very excited about this one.
You at the bottom.
Yeah, trying. Oh, it's stuck. There's a lot of stuff in here. There we go.
All right. What do we got?
All right, we got the rule book.
Yes.
Pull that to the side. It's full color. It's 30 pages ish. We'll show it all off
Right.
in a minute. But rule book. Star Trek Online.
Online.
You play the
You play
the
video
online
games?
Yeah.
There
You
you
get
go.
I think you actually get like a code. We're not going to show the code off.
Oh, hey.
I don't want anybody stealing my codes.
Good boy.
Yeah, this is what I was talking about. This is the expansions I was talking about. So the Ferengis here, and then the Cardassians, which are available now. So very cool.
Very cool.
They each have each race, by the way, has their own special abilities, which we'll show off here in a bit. We have tokens.
It's like an FF2 game. It's
Yep.
not.
We have quite a few tokens actually.
Yes.
So I'm just gonna do this move.
Are they all the same? Okay, no, they're not.
No. So
Okay.
they are front and back. You flip this over.
Oh, yeah,
Try not
right.
to punch them out. As you can see, front and back.
Front and back. Okay.
You got space stations and stuff like that.
Right. These are the.
These are warp lane tokens.
warp lane tokens.
So we'll
okay.
talk about that here in a minute. There's quite a few of those. There's 1, 2, 3 sets of those.
Okay.
I'm not gonna flip them all over, but you can see lots of tokens. Lots of tokens. All right. All right.
The player board for the Federation.
Yep. And if you look, this is the Klingon Empire, and of course the Romulans. And if you could pull the Federation up real fast.
Very different looking.
So they are very different looking. It
Yes.
helps out with the style of each.
Right.
And actually, if you can look, there's a little punch out here that you can put a little slider in. That shows you
Oh.
as you get better with your upgrade costs.
Yeah.
It's pretty neat.
That's very cool.
Yeah. Each race has their own abilities, and there's another shield upgrade cost over here too. So I'll read the Klingons real quick. They have Death Before Dishonor. Klingons may never retreat or surrender a planet. So they're going to fight you
Right.
until they're dead. Ever victorious, take 1 culture when you defeat 3 or more ships in battle. In a battle, we'll talk about that here in a minute.
Huh. Okay.
The Romulans are suspicious. Whenever you receive a trade agreement, exhausted immediately. Refresh it at the next round's upkeep as normal. So it can be good or bad.
Right.
Cultural superiority. Take 1 culture when you complete an advancement picturing a culture token.
Okay.
So there's a couple of different ways to win. Obviously, there's kind of a culture track, which the more culture you get, you can win that way. And there's a military track by just
Right.
conquering people. And then the Federation, obviously,
The Federation may never invade planets or colonize pre-warp inhabited systems.
That's the old Prime Directive right there.
Right, and then explorers strange new worlds. Take one culture when you draw a civilization exploration card or discover a new phenomenon.
So the Federation's all about racking up those.
Right. They're all about exploration.
Exploring.
Being good.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Very cool. Put those aside. So you've got some dice. Gotta have those.
Right.
This die right here, I believe, is the warp lane die. So whenever you explore, you roll that to see how far you go in the warp. So,
Okay. Very cool.
we've got turn order. These are just other decks.
Exploration.
Yep.
So it looks like there are events.
There are events that can happen.
Okay.
This is the example here is dangerous flora. You discovered an ecosystem dominated by plants with pollen that is toxic. That is a toxic hallucinogen to your species.
Oh.
Sounds like fun to me. That's not good.
No, that's not good at all.
But you can actually complete those
And get rewards.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So.
Oh, okay. Building a system on this colony costs an additional 2 research
Right.
tokens, so they can be bad things.
And these are reference cards.
Okay.
So, and then there's also the fleets on the back. So this is the Romulan fleet, and actually this changes based on the species you're playing.
Right.
This is how many like ships and fleets you can have. It's part of the rules. But,
Okay.
yeah. Bunch of little
this?
decks.
Okay.
So that's Q. That's the guy I was talking about here.
Oh, hey, Q.
So the Q continuum.
Did they ever explain why he's named Q?
He's part of the Q continuum. They're a weird.
Oh, okay.
Alien.
Yeah.
Super
He was in the first episode of Star Trek Generation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's. Anyway.
You're much more
Exploration
Trekkie
cards.
than I am.
Yeah, I don't want to. We won't get into all that stuff, but there's a lot of stuff in trading agreements.
Okay.
You can make this stack right here, of all these round ones. These are the planet cards. You're gonna have your 3 home planets for the species. So
right. Earth obviously is a Federation.
Right.
planet.
You've got Romulus for the Romans. Romulus for the Romulans. Almost said for ramen. And then the Klingon Hope planet. Hang on, it's gonna come to me right when I say it. I'm blanking on the Klingon planet
Is
right
it
now.
Kling?
No. I'll remember it here in a bit. I promise. It's gonna hit me out of nowhere. Man. Anyway,
These are the ships.
all the ships.
You get the little white Enterprises.
Yes.
I mean,
There's
the Federation
these
ships.
are Federation ships.
Yes.
Those there's also the large.
Oh.
Those are actually for colonies.
Okay.
Where are they at? Here we go. So each set is going to come with these larger ships. These represent actual fleets.
Oh, okay.
So, for instance, when you're the Romulans, you're going to have their fleets, and you can put a certain number of ships in the fleets. And these are the smaller ships are for individual ones. If you want to build them up and then add them to a fleet, it's all in the rules. But you get a ton of them. So here's all the Klingon stuff. And each one's different too. You can see like.
Oh, that's very nice. Yeah. It's not a copy and paste.
Right. So even though they're the same basic shape,
Right.
if you look at them closely,
The
they are
buildings are
completely
different,
different.
yeah.
So for colonies and stuff like that.
That's very cool.
So, and then last but not least, these are like their energy and culture and I think war points that you can do stuff with. So move that to the side. Want to take a look at the rules real quick?
Let's do it. All right.
Okay, here's the rule book. Chronos. Klingon home planet. All right, moving on.
Took you long enough.
I
You didn't
know,
have to
right?
look that up.
No, it hit me. I told you it's gonna hit me later. So there you go. Game components. Just gonna go through all that stuff.
Right.
Yeah, culture, production, not war, and research. I was like, that doesn't sound right. Anyway, those are the 3 different colors for the resources you're gonna be managing.
Okay.
All the components, we'll go through that. So, game layout's pretty simple. You're gonna have your planetary deck. You're gonna shuffle them and stack them, taking out the home planets. Home planets is where the species start, obviously, and then you can order your fleets to explore or whatever. As you discover new planets, first you roll on the warp charge thing to see how far you can go, and then you can see if you discover a new planet or not. So, and then there's got to be. Can you grab the Earth real quick?
Grab the Earth. I have the entire planet here.
Right here. So if you see here, this also shows how many warp lanes. It's 4 can be attached to this planet.
Okay.
So some planets only have like 1 or 2.
Wow. Okay.
So it kind of gets cut off if you get off on a random shot.
Right.
So But you're going to shuffle those. Board layout's very important. It's a little strange, but you want to put your home systems at least 18 inches away from everybody.
Interesting, okay.
The reason being is that the board shifts.
Right, as you can see here.
Yeah, as the map grows, players discover more and more star systems and phenomena, and then you can connect those with different space lanes. That's what those warplane counters are.
Interesting, okay.
And so you can actually reform the way your galaxy kind of fits. As long as everything stays connected, you can move stuff around. So if in this example here, if I wanted to make a warplane from here to here, I could actually rotate that around, and if I pass my roll,
that's very cool.
I can shorten space between the two.
Okay.
But they aren't set until the maximum number of warplanes are attached to whatever the sector is.
Okay.
But once they're completely attached, you can't shift them around anymore.
Interesting.
So that creates a very unique dynamic in the game of being able to move or cut off entire players.
Right.
So, something to think about. There's a couple of different ways to win. There's the Ascendancy victory. So at the end of the game round, if a player controls their home system, has 5 Ascendancy tokens, they win the game. They have established a cultural dominance victory. So you can purchase the Ascendancy tokens with culture tokens. So it's kind of this backup way to win if you want to. Supremacy victory is at the end of a game round, a single player controls 3 home system, one of which has to be their own. So in this case, it's kind of hard to do with only 3 players.
Right.
But once you get more expansions, it gets a little bit easier.
Okay, makes sense.
So something to think about. And then there's tide victories and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah, it's a very interesting game. I think it's a good comparison, I think, to like Twilight Imperium.
Okay.
If you play Twilight Imperium, it's going to be a little bit shorter game, I think, but there is a heavy focus on exploration and world building or empire building.
Yeah, okay.
And so resource management, there's a lot of that stuff involved too.
Makes sense.
Each race has their own unique abilities, which is kind of cool. Which you saw on the card. Some of them are good, some of them are bad. Basically, you get one of each: one good, one bad ability. Bad in the sense of a restriction,
right?
But you also get a benefit of some type.
Very cool. Yeah.
And again, people play different ways. I think the Ferengi actually can't produce culture, but they can buy it because Ferengis.
Right.
Stuff like that. Yeah. But yeah, the game mechanics pretty straightforward. As far as moving around, I'll just show off. Well, we'll talk about a game round. You have your initiative step, execution stage, recharge stage, which pretty easy to go through. The rulebook's going to explain all that. I'm not going to take time to do that in this video because it's
right.
Yeah, but the key concepts are you're going to be exploring, laying down the warp lanes, getting more stuff like that. It explains on how to do that, the difference between warp moving and impulse movement, stuff like that. So the amount of warp lanes, which I kind of talked about already. What happens if you encounter a phenomenon? It explains all that. Okay. There are different basically random events that can happen are included in
Keeps it fresh.
The deck. Right.
Yeah.
You're not always going to land on a new planet, basically.
Right. Okay. Like a pulsar instead.
Right. You might land on a bad thing, and when you explore it, you've got these different things that can happen. So for the exploration cards, you can land on a planet that'll cause a crisis. You can find a magical new discovery that's like, hey, have some free whatever.
Right.
You can find completely blank, virgin worlds that are totally ripe for exploitation and colonization. You may encounter other civilizations. If you were, depending on your race too, it may influence how you actually interact with that civilization.
Right, that's very cool.
So it's all really, really neat. And then each planet is also going to have different production rates and stuff like that, which the cards will say. So, but yeah, it's pretty straightforward. It talks about fighting. There's going to be some combat going on. And then you can level up your civilization with research points. So, yeah. So if you want to go for the conquest victory, that's how you do that. So keep on moving. I'm just going to flip to the end here. I think it's got game round summary right there, so you can kind of see how it's going to go down. But it's actually a really fun, challenging game.
Yeah, I like how many different ways there are to win. That's nice. Yeah.
It definitely changes some up, and it also, because of the culture victory, it also keeps you from getting stale. Because I don't know if you've ever played Twilight Imperium.
Yes, of course.
But have you ever had a game where like all the players don't want to like attack anybody.
Yeah.
And they just want to sit there and
They're
castle up.
Passive, yeah.
Right. It's because nobody wants to hurt anybody's feelings or whatever. I get it.
I go for it. Yeah.
I get it. But with the culture victory, it forces players into conflict.
Right.
Because you have a secondary way to win the game.
Yeah, that's good.
You've got to explore. You've got to bump heads. Also, what's neat about this game is the only real limitation on the number of players is how many starter decks you can get together. Starter decks in the terms of like races.
Right.
So I know Gale Force 9 already has those 2 expansions we talked about.
So I can bump it up to 5 players?
You can bump it up to 5, and the game at that point will approximately take 5 hours.
Yeah, it'll be a
pretty long game.
Yeah.
But there's no reason you couldn't add even more races later on down the road. And if you're a fan of Star Trek, like I am, you know there's tons of races they could explore.
They could definitely do.
I think the Borg probably like the number one requested one. Like, do a Borg race. I can totally see that happening.
Bunch of cubes on the board.
Right, just float cubes, man. Maybe they'll probably have unique rules because they're Borg. They're not going to be able to like. Maybe they won't win a culture victory. They just absorb everything.
That's pretty cool.
There's Vulcans are part of the Federation, but other races, I think you could probably do like the Jem'Hadar, the guys from the Gamma Quadrant. I'm not gonna list them all out.
This is going over my head. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a ton of alien races that they could easily add to the game. Yeah. I'm not gonna nerd out any further. That's basically Star Trek Ascendancy.
Very cool.
Really cool game.
Yeah.
Lots of room for expansion from Gale Force 9. I'm really glad they got a hold of the property to see what else they do with it. So why don't we hop out for a recap? Well, that was Star Trek Ascendancy, again from Gale Force 9.
Yes.
Let's crunch some numbers on this one real quick. Evan, what's the price point on this one?
$100 even.
$100.
So yeah, it's a good price point, same as like Star Wars Rebellion.
Yep. This is a massive game too.
Yeah, a little more expensive than Twilight Imperium current edition, but it's
Yeah.
about where it started anyway. So
Yeah,
it's that price point, it's that category.
Yeah, it's definitely a higher tier board game in my opinion as far as board games goes, but also just based on the stuff that you're getting there, it's quite a bit of stuff.
Yeah.
And again, the replay value on this is
Very
pretty
big.
high.
I mean, the whole map changes.
Yeah. And it's great too because you can add more players as your gaming group either grows or shrinks or whatever. You can just add more people to the game. This is one of those games that because the playtime is based on the number of players, it never gets old.
Right. In this game in particular, it comes with 3 races, so that means there can be up to 3 players.
Yep.
And it's about an hour per player.
Right.
So if you have 5 players, obviously that's going to be 5 hours.
If you pick up the Cardassian and the Ferengi expansion, and then whatever else other expansions they do down the road, you just add more people to the game. So very cool stuff.
Recommended 14 and up. There are small pieces, and it's
don't eat them.
A bit complex, but yeah,
it's still really fun.
Yeah.
Again, with the modular board and tiles, probably one of the most unique gaming mechanics I've seen in a long time.
Yeah.
So very cool stuff.
The map is very unique for sure.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm AdamHarry from Bell Souls.
I'm Evan from Dragon's Lair Comics Fantasy.
And this has been another Tabletop Spotlight. Thanks for watching. Tabletop Spotlight brought to you by Dragon's Lair Comics and Fantasy. Thanks for watching.